a new member today for just today. Senate President Masterson is sitting in. Senator Reichman could not be here, so we'll welcome. Are there introduction of bills? Senator Hildebrand.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to introduce RS 1339. It is the Controlled Substance Bill for the Board of Pharmacy.
Thank you. Are there any objections to introducing this bill? Seeing none, bill will be introduced. Senator Baumgartner.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. I'm introducing RS 0661. It's an act establishing the Office of the Child Advocate.
Thank you. Are there any objections to introducing this bill or any questions on the bill? Seeing none, the bill will be introduced. Thank you for. Okay, we'll move on to working a couple bills this morning. The schedule will work Senate Bill 2, which is the consumption of beer and wine on Kansas State Fairgrounds and crediting a portion of that money collected from the liquor enforcement tax back to the state fair improvement funds. Senate Bill 2. What's your wishes, committee? Senator Longbine.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would move that we pass out Senate Bill 2 favorably for passage.
We have a second? We have a second by Senator Masterson. Is there any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Bill passes. Moving on to Senate Bill 2066. And we just heard this bill yesterday. Is there anyone that needs clarification from the reviser on this bill? He did a good job yesterday explaining it. I think we know where it stands. So if there's no questions from the reviser, we'll move on. What are your wishes on this bill? Senator Hildebrand.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I make a motion that we move the bill out.
Do I have a second? Motion been seconded? Okay. You have an amendment? Okay. Substitute motion is in order? Okay. Yes.
Aye. Substitute motion to amend.
Yes.
Thank you. May I present my amendment?
Yes.
Thank you. So yesterday we had a pretty lengthy discussion about the groups of individuals, our architects and engineers and surveyors, and several groups came before us to talk about the scope of practice versus the substantial equivalency piece in this bill. And, you know, this originally started out as our military residents who are coming to Kansas and then their spouses being able to get licensed in a more expedited manner. And it just kind of grew a bit. And so now we had the architects that came and spoke to us yesterday about, in particular, about their issues, and the surveyors, and we've got geologists. We've been getting a lot of phone calls and emails. So my amendment is really the difference between the scope of practice versus substantially equivalent on the Board of Technical Professions. So I think this is amendment number 2, and Connie, you probably have an example of that, and our reviser is here if you would like him to explain the details of that.
Okay, could the reviser give us
Simple, but
just, are you here?
Yes.
There it is. Okay.
I just put the amendment up on the screen. The amendment amends subsection R. Currently, as the bill is written, only the professional engineers who are licensed by the State Board of Technical Professions would fall under subsection R, which allows the board to determine if the applicant's qualifications are substantially equivalent to those established by the board. The amendment being offered would strike the limitation to the professional engineers. And so any licensed profession that is licensed by the State Board of Technical Professions would fall under the provisions of subsection R, and the board could make a determination as to substantial equivalency of the applicant's qualifications for not only engineers, but also architects, land surveyors, and any other professions that are licensed by the Board of Technical Professions. The bill also, I'll just point out the balloon on page 8 strikes some extraneous language in lines 12 and 13 and 23 and 24 that is really unnecessary for the purposes of that section.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So who all qualifies under that? Who would be exempted? Who would be moved over besides those you've listed?
It would be the engineers, architects, land surveyors, landscape architects, geologists. I believe those are the professions regulated by the Board of Technical Professions. I could do a quick statutory search to see if there are any others.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, you'll need a second on the substitute motion to amend to have discussion.
Sorry, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate the good senator from Shawnee bringing this amendment. I do have concerns about it. I had conversations with command staff at Fort Riley. Of course, their preference would be that no one was excluded from this bill. But I also do think it's important to remember that this bill allows them to reciprocate with a license. It does not say that they are guaranteed a job. It does not require an employer to hire them. It just gives them an opportunity to have the ability to apply for a job. I would certainly think as an employer, if you have 3 applicants and 2 of them are very well qualified and you have concerns about one other that may not be as qualified, you could certainly reject that applicant. So I will be voting no on any amendment that expands the exclusions because of the way the Department of Defense and the command staff at Fort Riley feel about it.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Senator Masterson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would just say I think I'd echo the sentiments from Senator from Lyon, removing that. And I've had some extensive conversations. I don't think there's some of the we heard things about, public health safety risk. I don't think any of that exists. I think it'd be better if we push the bill out underneath as it is.
Any further discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye. Opposed? No. We're unsure, so we're going to ask the next time to hold your hands up for aye. All in favor? Opposed? Senator Cruz, how did you vote? Voted aye. 4-4. Motion dies. Back on the original motion. Any other further discussion? Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So if staff could, or you could explain, so yesterday during the hearing, I had to leave and there was a comment maybe from Jason in explaining the bill that even if they didn't qualify in one area, they would still be given a temporary license. Could staff explain that to me?
Jason, could you give us a update on that question?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Under the provisions that if an applicant does not qualify initially for the Kansas credential, there is provision that the licensing body is to grant a temporary permit to a military service member or military spouse, which would be a probationary license. Oh, I guess that's if, yes, shall grant a temporary permit to allow the military service member or spouse time to complete the requirements, whether that be examination or some education, continuing education requirement to meet the qualifications. And then the licensing body is given the discretion to issue a temporary permit to any other individual, again, to have time to complete the necessary requirements for receiving their credential.
Thank you very much. Is there any other questions? Okay. So we have you moved your motion. We have a second on that motion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Yes. Yes, favorably. Yeah, he moved, second by Master. Is there any other business before the committee today? I want to say thank you for coming in on Friday. Thank you for being here today. And yeah. Yes, we will. We will be working Monday, and we have, I hate to say this, but we have 5 bills we're going to hear on Monday. Oh my. So thank you very much. Meeting is adjourned.